Things just got very interesting for the Toronto Blue Jays surrounding Bo Bichette as a brand new report has dropped revealing some wild information surrounding not only his future in Toronto, but one rival team in hot pursuit of the shortstop. We'll break that down and discuss that things have taken quite the surprising twist. But not only that, we have some updates from Jeff Passan and other reporters as more moves have happened around the MLB that have big implications going forward for the Toronto Blue Jays. Ton to go over on this episode, but before we get into it all, you guys have been absolute beasts for the support. It truly means the world to me. If you guys can hit that subscribe button, thank you guys again for continued support. It's fantastic. Now, folks, there is a lot to go over today. We're going to be touching on a bunch of different things, but I want to start with the Bo Bichette news. And there's a lot of updates. We have one from Past, and we have one from another reporter, Mark Feinstein. But I want to start with the one that came out very recently and just a couple days ago. But it's especially relevant now because we have some more updates that dropped last night into this morning. The Red Sox are showing interest in Bo Bichette, and this is not just preliminary interest. This is serious interest, and this was an article posted by The Score here. The Boston Red Sox could be preparing to make a big run at luring free agent shortstop Bo Bichette away from the Blue Jays. They have shown interest in Bichette in the club's attempt to snag a prominent middle-of-the-order bat in the open market, sources told Rob Bradford, a notable reporter in the Red Sox scene. Boston also has been connected to third baseman Alex Bregman, who played with the team in 2025 before opting out of his contract, and first baseman Pete Alonso. So this is interesting for quite a few reasons. Now, of course, if Bo Bichette is going to leave Toronto and go elsewhere, the last place I want to see him go, one of the last places, the Yankees are probably the last place, but it is an AL East team, just because of the fact that we know how good Bo Bichette is. He is dominant, right? Especially when he's healthy. And the Red Sox have the money to do it. They have the big, they have big spending power, and we saw, last offseason and throughout, they made a bunch of moves. Of course, they got Bregman, they got Garrett Crochet, and it helped them be a pretty competitive team before getting knocked out in the wild card round. But for the Red Sox to be super in on Bichette is quite the interesting term, because this is a real report from a real reputable reporter, right? And that's what makes things interesting. There's always a lot of rumors out there, all these different things, and for them to have one of their insiders say this means they're probably actually going all in. And this is the first time that in the offseason that a team has been heavily linked, besides the Blue Jays, to Bo Bichette, which is a little bit scary, right? It's not exactly what you want to hear if you're a Jays fan, but at the same time, there is going to be a lot of these. And if you saw the interview I had with Keegan Matheson, a couple of days ago, he basically said that, hey, there's going to be tons of teams that have preliminary interest, but this process is going to be dragged out a while. And Jeff Pass's new article revealed some new information as well. I briefly covered it in yesterday's video. Feel free to check that one out as well. Some interesting updates on Kyle Tucker and things like that after you watch this one in its entirety. But you can see here, but teams haven't been scared off of Bo Bichette at shortstop, according to sources, which is notable because, of course, we've heard some reports about maybe some teams only seeing him as a second baseman. Beyond the Blue Jays, who have Andres Gimenez to play short, like I mentioned, they could sign both Tucker and Bichette, but the Atlanta Braves, the Detroit Tigers, both have holes at the most important position on the infield. And he mentions the Yankees, of course, Anthony Volpe. Will he still be there? Like, are they going to trade him? Are they going to keep him? Jose Caballero, who they acquired at the deadline. The Mets, Phillies. Jeff Passan links a lot of different teams here to Bo Bichette, but most importantly says that there's not only a lot of teams that are going to be in on him, but teams haven't been scared off of him at short, which is quite interesting. You look at his advanced metrics, you look at his defense, you look at all these different things, and it hasn't been good defensively, but he's been fantastic offensively. And for the Jays, the ideal scenario is you sign him 8 years, 210, 220, 230 million, screw it. Put him at second base and have Andres Gimenez at short. That was what they were running in the playoffs, and it worked really well, as we know. But Gimenez's value is so much higher as a shortstop because he's one of, if not the best infielder defensively in the game. And we saw that, right? I don't need to tell you guys that. I'm sure a lot of us watched the playoffs. And that is their number one goal here, I think, is for the Jays to bring back Bichette and put him at second. And you can see here from Mark Feinstein recently, again, they made a stunning run to the World Series. They do need to address their starting rotation, which they absolutely will. We got Bieber on a discount at $12 million after the buyout. But their top priority, according to Mark Feinstein, remains re-signing Bo Bichette, which is very good news ultimately, right? Because at this juncture, and it's interesting because some reporters like Ben Nicholson-Smith are saying that their top priority isn't necessarily Bo Bichette, it's getting a starting pitcher, and then you figure out Bo Bichette afterwards. We have Ross Atkins saying they're going to be involved in the market. The market's going to get busy quickly, but for now, it's pretty status quo in the sense of it's the calm before the storm. But it is notable that Jeff Passan threw a bunch of teams out there. He didn't really mention, I mean, he mentioned that the Jays could sign both Tucker and Bichette, though I assume that isn't super likely. And if they don't get Bichette, all eyes then shift to Tucker. And then if they don't get Tucker, that's when things start to get not panic mode, but pretty interesting there. And again, they're favorites to land Kyle Tucker, but they're also, of course, teams remain interested in Bo Bichette. They're involved in the starting pitcher market, the relief market, but it's notable that the Red Sox are showing interest among many other teams. I don't think he'd go to New York, and I'm hoping that if he signs elsewhere and the Jays don't get it done, that it's a team besides the Dodgers out west, but some team in the NL where you don't have to see him so many games a year in the division, even though with the new rules, you play the division less than you used to. But let me know below what your thoughts are on this and kind of where you think the Jays' priorities should be. Should it be Tucker 1, Bo Bichette 2? Should it be starting pitching 1, Bichette 2, Tucker 3? All these different things, because it's the continued question here. And as we start to hear new reports, as we start to get deeper and deeper into the offseason, things are going to get scarier and scarier if Bo Bichette continues to remain unsigned. But also keep in mind, he is out there to make the most money possible, and that's going to happen by dragging out the market. He has all the leverage in the world, even though he barely played last year. He hit that 3-run home run in the World Series Game 7, all these things. So I have full faith the Jays are going to bring him back, but it is some very notable updates, which is, of course, what we do over here. A couple other things to keep in mind as well is yesterday, or rather some new updates. Yesterday, some new moves went down. We're diving into prospects a little bit as well here, because the Jays have made some quite the development on that. We'll probably have a full video coming, or I will rather have a full video coming on that later today, probably into tomorrow or later this week into the weekend. But yesterday, a move happened, and it was Raisel Iglesias. And if you watch the channel, I covered a report from Francis Romero saying the Jays were heavily involved in Raisel Iglesias. Now, he signed with the Braves at $16 million, and then Francis Romero came out and said that they received offers, Francis Romero's camp, that is, around $16 million from the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Turned down both pennant winners to stay in Atlanta, but then Ben Nicholson-Smith clarified that he heard per sources that the Jays talked to Raisel Iglesias before he signed with Atlanta, expressing some interest. Jays didn't make an offer. And this is quite notable because, for one, the reliever market's going to be pretty hefty, and it's suspected that they're going to move the reliever market is going to move quicker than the starting pitcher market. But then, things change. At the end of the day, who really knows what market's going to move first? It's, player-to-player basis. The Jays didn't make an offer for Raisel Iglesias. And if they had made an offer for $16 million, if that was the case, like Francis Romero initially reported, now Francis clarified saying that they didn't make an offer, but nonetheless, that would have been a good sign, I think. Not because I think he's worth $16 million. I don't think he is, but that means their spending power is huge. But they didn't make that offer, but I still think it's a good sign that they were expressing interest, because they're going to be expressing a lot of interest. 16 million is a bit much. Like, you can go out and get some really good players at 16. I mean, Shane Bieber is at 16 million before the buyout, really 12 million. I'd much rather Shane Bieber on my team than Raisel Iglesias, even though Raisel is very, very good. And Raisel Iglesias, again, he's an elite reliever, kind of, right? He had a really good year the year before last. Last year, he was okay with a 3.21 ERA. But the Jays need to move somewhat quickly, but they can also wait out the market to a degree. We've seen them in the past. I mean, they got Santander pretty late after the rookie Sasaki sweepstakes, I believe. So it's interesting, but at the end of the day here, the Jays are going to be involved in a lot of different names. The market is slowly but surely starting to move. Winter meetings are 2-3 weeks away now, obviously in the early parts of December, and they're going to be very active. And other teams are too, and hopefully Bo Bichette can remain with the team. So let me know down below your thoughts are on that. Here's a quick sneak peek as well on an interesting prospect rankings. The Jays have a ton of top prospects now coming into the system, which is super exciting. I'll have a full video covering it, but you can see here, coming off a World Series appearance, the Jays now have 6 top 100 worthy prospects, and that's a very good sign. So we'll keep you up to date. Expect a full video coming on that soon with some interesting names not on that list that you can expect to see. MLB Pipeline, I'm sure, is going to drop our top 100 prospects soon, so we'll shift a little bit away from the free agency talks for at least one video later on this week into the weekend. But let me know down below your thoughts are on this. Are you scared of the Red Sox prying away Bo Bichette? Do you think the Jays are going to make it compelling enough offer for him to stay here? He said he wants to stay here. Key Madison said he probably wants to stay here, and everybody thinks he's going to stay here. But if we've learned one thing, baseball is unpredictable. The MLB offseason is unpredictable. What is predictable is Daily Jays content here. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. You guys have been fantastic. See you guys later.